Hello, I'm Shadowfire and welcome to my channel. I'm a writer, an artist, and a novice animator. I apologize if my phrasing and words aren't exact. It's because English isn't my first language. I'm actually French, but you probably already guessed by the accent. That's why I'm also being careful and speaking slower than I usually would, because I want to be understood. Although I think my accent isn't too bad, I still have the accent. So, welcome to my HealerTale Redesign series. This is a small speed paint series about my Undertale EU named HealerTale. I'm planning to make a comic illustrating the story, but before I do, I felt like I needed to update my character sheets. Honestly, it was just to freshen up my references, and because I know my style has evolved a little, but I didn't realize how much it has. You see, I made the latest designs in 2024, and I wasn't planning on modifying much, just letting my perfectionism work its magic and add more details, change things, and had more outfits for the comic. But I ended up slapping myself in the face. I hadn't realized how much my art style had evolved in 1 year. Like, I'm a pretty insecure person. Compliments about my art isn't that often, and it doesn't help that no matter which platform I'm in, the algorithm just shoots me down every time. And so that kind of sucks. And I'm also a perfectionist, which means I can't find any of my designs good enough, no matter what I do. But I do want to start the comic as soon as I can. Although I am still looking for a job in IRL, in real life. It's not going too well, but hey, if you want to support me, my commissions are open. I'll have it on the screen. Anyway, the evolution between my art in 2024 and 2025 is so extreme. When I finished drawing them, it didn't feel like I had the same characters anymore. And honestly, I really like that. Sometimes that's why I would advise any other artist to redraw something they drew like 1-2 years ago, because that's how you see you've evolved. That's how you get slapped in the face by your own art, your own talent. And honestly, you should do that. That makes you feel so happy and like you've evolved. It's an amazing feeling. You should really do it. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other social media for more content. Now, without further delay, let's redesign the royal family. Let's start with Queen Toriel. Toriel is the queen of the underground and one of the rulers of monsterkind. Personally, her design is my favorite, so I naturally started with her. In my original notes for the redesign, I wanted to fix the hair, the crown, and the bottom half of the dress. But I ended up redesigning everything. The patterns, the colors, the dress, the hair, the crown, just everything in general. I wasn't planning to change that much, but my hand decided to have a mind of its own, and now I have a gorgeous result. At least I think it's gorgeous. For once, by perfectionism, find something good. That's why you need to redraw your designs every year or so, just to see how much you've evolved. Just for the slap in the face. That satisfying slap in the face. Also, don't mind the casual dresses color. I will change it to purple, which is what I associate with the royal family. Toriel, we have an extra outfit, a ceremonial dress. Well, every member of the royal family we have a ceremonial dress. for one of the chapters. Much like the original design I made, it will be silver. I wasn't planning to have a cape to either design, but I felt like it added to her royal status. You may have noticed that the shape of Toya's stomach is different depending on the outfit. Well, that was an accident. You see, depending on the type of dress or outfit you have, you can make a character's figure or your own look very different. Like Toya's casual outfit, instead of having a puffy dress, I gave her a mermaid tail, which is form-fitting and makes her look skinnier. Which, by the way, it also works on plus-size people. And yeah, so that match is nice. I kept the puffier look for the ceremonial dress because I felt like it added a more imperial style to it, and I honestly really liked it. On the casual outfit, there's a sash beneath her breast. It also makes her figure appear thinner, even though it's the same. The ceremonial dress, being silver, is done on purpose, as there is a very specific meaning behind the color, but I'm not revealing it yet. I want to show it to you when the comics arrive. Now, I wanted to talk about the difference between Queen Toriel and HealerTale Toriel. Well, HealerTale and yeah, the original one. So OG Toriel is, this sweet, motherly girl, mama goat. She's just mama goat. She's very sweet, she's motherly, and her personality for my Toriel is also like that. She's also kind and motherly, just like the original one. The major difference between the two is that my Toriel is quiet. Like, she rarely talks, kind of quiet. Yeah, she also isn't shut out in the ruins like OG Toriel. The reason for this, it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler because I already talked about it many times on my DeviantArt page and my TikTok. Humans never came to the underground. That's right, no Kara, no Frisk, no other souls that ever came down. There has never been a human in the mount that fell into the underground since the war. Which is why Azrael is in the royal family. He's alive because, Kara never came, so they never left, never got shot, and etc. So Toriel never left the castle. She's still in there, and even if she wanted to leave the castle, she can't. She absolutely cannot. You see, she may be still on the throne with her crown and her gown, but she's a very lonely queen. She's a very, very lonely queen. There are maids everywhere. Her husband, her son is there, but she's still a very lonely queen. As you've noticed, she's missing an arm, and that's because of the war. Same with why there's a scar across her face. Her eyes are blind because of the war too. So that's why she keeps them closed and rarely opens them. Her eyes, I could have drawn her with open blind eyes because you're seeing in the character design that I've drawn what her blind eyes look like. But I close them constantly on purpose. It's a representation of how she deals with issue now, how she handles the outside world since the war. Honestly, if my Toriel and OG Toriel met, I think OG Toriel would be like, oh my god, what happened to you, darling? Oh, she would have a lot of pity for HealerTale. It would be a very awkward meeting, but I think it adds to the charm. Sometimes even bombs can be awkward between each other when they met. So I like to think like that. It's cute. I like to think. I like to imagine things. And that's all I have to say about Queen Toriel. To find out about her, more about her, you will have to wait. But feel free to speculate in the comments. I will read them all, since I'm a small artist and I don't get much comments, so it's very easy for me to read them. King Asgore. He is the second design I made, the king of the underground and the main ruler of monsterkind. No surprise there. Design-wise, he's very frustrating to draw, at least for me. And it's because of my lack of skills. You see, I'm used to draw thin body types. Heavier and muscular ones are completely outside my portfolio, which is why they're hard. And yeah, it's definitely because I'm a perfectionist. I'm very hard on myself, and when I can't draw something right, I get frustrated and just stop. I could never draw the muscles right. Square body types are harder for me, and probably for a lot of people than they look. And when I draw fat body types, I could never balance everything correctly to make it look right. It looked like someone had a pillow on their stomach instead of an actual stomach, And, if you're struggling with this like I did, the only thing I can advise you to do is practice, look at reference, because no, looking at references and using references isn't copying. It's not copying, it's not being a copycat, it's having inspiration and be willing to evolve and learn. This is not copying. And anyone who tells you using references copying is dumb. They're just straight up dumb. Because if you're an artist that can do it with references, then cool for you, have fun. But don't tell smaller artists who are still learning to not use references. Even professionals use references. So yeah, this is only an idiot would say that. So use references, use as much as you want, make yourself a board with 100 references if you want. Just do it. Just do it. Anyway, I know it's basic advice to tell you to just practice, but it's the basic advice because it's the advice that works the most, at least in art. As I said in the intro, I slapped myself in the face with the designs. Toriel was my first slap, which made me realize how much I progressed, but Asgore was the biggest slap. Honestly, I don't think there's another character I could design that would give me that much of a slap. Mastering his body type and face really impressed myself. That's how unconfident and insecure I am about my own art and how I draw. What I wanted to fix the most about Asgore was his face and body types. I really didn't like the shape of the face, the hair, and the body didn't feel imposing enough. Asgore is supposed to be this big, imposing presence, so yeah, it didn't translate of it in my old character design. His casual outfit is simpler, and yet it's more sophisticated. It feels more king-like. Like Toriel, he also has a ceremonial outfit. It's pretty detailed and it's silver. The ceremonial outfit has a one-shoulder cape in the spin paint, but while writing the script for the video, I changed it to a two-shoulder cape because I think it looks better, and also my perfectionism kept telling me something was wrong. Anyway, I really like how I drew Asgore. I really love what I did with his character design. For his personality, comparing him to the OG Asgore, it would be like night and day. The original Asgore is a warm and kind guy in general. Yeah, he did horrible things, but he was stricken by grief, and people can do some really fucked up shit when they're grieving. So, my Asgore, as I mentioned on Toriel's part, they are no humans, but he already declared war on them anyway, because ego, and Asgore is still alive, so there's literally no need for him to. As for his personality, he's just as kind and loving as the original Asgore. And I hear some of you say, "But Shadow, why does he look so angry on your reference?" And to that I say, congratulations! You find the main antagonist of HealerTale. That's right, Asgore is the main antagonist. Honestly, you may think, but isn't that a spoiler for the comic? Well, no. As I made previous designs and characterization, Asgore has always been the antagonist. So it would be kinda weird for me to not say that he's the antagonist when I said plenty of time before. He's absolutely an antagonist, and he's a piece of shit. The original Asgore is a pretty kind guy who feels like he has to do these things because, he promised to his people when he was grief-stricken, and he made, quick decisions and feels like he has to do these horrible things for the sake of Monsterkind. But my Asgore, well, he doesn't have a reason to be angry. His son is alive, no humans have ever fallen in the underground. And he has power, he has a crown, so when you think about it, he should be happy, he should be a good king, but he's not. My Asgore is not a good king. He is a very selfish king. He's very selfish, he's very violent. That's not something I've ever hidden before, so I'm not gonna hide it in this video. Now, he is kind and loving and caring, but only in the public eye. Behind closed doors, he's not like that at all. Everyone who worked closely with him knows to just nod and do everything he says. And I mean, since no human ever fell in the underground, you start wondering, why does the king the trident when he has an entire army? And the comic will answer that question, if I hadn't already. Finally, our last character design for the video. This is Azrael, the Prince of the Underground and the future ruler of Monsterkind. His original design was crap. It's clear I didn't put much effort or passion in his previous design, because I got really frustrated. I remember getting very frustrated with him and just not knowing what I was doing. So my plan for the redesign was to just change everything. You know, scrap the old design, go to zero, do everything. Which is why I also designed Toriel and Asgore before him. I wanted to make sure Azrael looked like both of his parents. Which, I mean, who knew? A biological child that looks like his parents. How unheard of. Anyway, so I gave Azrael his mother's curls, his eye shape, her eye shape, tail, and markings. He got his father's yellow fur and horn color. His eye color is actually a mix between Toriel's red eyes and Asgore's orange. Azrael's dark markings are a dark blue, which is a reference to his final boss his final boss form in the original game, and it obviously comes from Toriel's purple markings. His hair and crown look way better than before, and most importantly, he actually looks like a prince, not some kind of, I don't know, clown. I don't know how to describe it. And just like his parents, he also has a ceremonial outfit. He has a one-shoulder cape, and I will not change it, the style. I think it fits with the outfit. But unlike his parents, he has a third outfit. It's a training one. On the speed paint you see, I was trying to draw chainmail, but it didn't look good and I don't have a paintbrush for it. So when the recording was off, I changed it to brown leather. Azrael is a friendly and social prince. He hangs out with all the nobles his age. Yeah, it's kind of basic, but we don't have much of a personality for Azrael in the original game. Yeah, he's kind of cowardly, he's a crybaby, but that's pretty much it. He's still absolutely those things. Azrael is a coward, and he'll be the first to admit it to himself that he is. And as for crybaby, well, he was when he was a kid, but now there's just no more point at crying. He excels in his studies and combat training. He is definitely the top of the top, and all the nobles his age admire him because he's the prince and they absolutely don't have any ulterior motive based on that. No, not at all. He's the top scholar and managed to juggle his responsibility to become the future king. Azrael is naturally working on being just like his father. It doesn't matter if it's a good thing or not, he has no choice. no matter what he does, he has to be like Asgore. That's something I will attempt to explore as much as possible in the story, but there's a possibility you won't see much of his relationship with his parents, and I will probably make, I don't know, a mini comic or something when the main one is done, illustrating this. I don't know, it's still speculation on how I will juggle this. Finally, we reached the end of part 1, the HealerTale redesign. I really hope you like my designs and enjoyed the video. I also hope you will subscribe and follow me on my other social media for updates and for when I eventually start posting the comic. Feel free to comment and ask questions. I will read them all and respond to them. I also invite polite criticism about my design. As long as respect reigns, everything is good. On this note, have a wonderful day, evening or night. I hope to see you on my other social media or the next video. Bye bye!